Searching for a bulk image resizer, I tested 4 popular tools on the exact same batch of photos to see which one gets the job done. Now, every tool gets the exact same batch of images. They are product photos, lifestyle images, on-model images, and they are at different resolution, but the aspect ratios are similar. They're all portrait aspect ratios. Now, every image has to pass 3 tests that we have defined. Okay, so first up, one of the most popular online bulk resizer, we're going to try Bulk Resize Photos. So let's take a look. So I've got my images right here, and I'll select my images, drag and drop, and then we'll set up the crop. So in this case, we want to go to, let's say, 3000 by 4000 pixels, so width and height got saved, and then we'll set everything as default, and we'll go ahead and try to resize our images. Our file is done and downloaded. Let's take a look. All right, so these are the images that it generated, and the first thing that we see is that the dimensions are all off. None of them are 3000 by 4000, and some of the images are just odd numbers. And why is that? Because it cannot resize or change the aspect ratio. It can just change the canvas size to a larger canvas. And let's take a look at some of the generated images. So as I can see through these images, they are basically just the canvas size has been changed. There is no upscaling. There is no ability to generate multiple sizes. We can only generate one size at a time. And if I want to generate another size, then I have to run it again. All right, time for the next tool. This time we're going to try Image Resizer. And so let's go through the same drill. Got our images, we'll drag and drop our images. But it doesn't allow us to do more than 5. That's okay, we can do it in 2 batches. All right, so these are the images that we have. And the first thing that we notice is we can enter the size that we want. But as you can see, you can only enter a single size. If I wanted to resize 2 or 3 different sizes, I would have to run this tool again. Nevertheless, we don't want to lock the aspect ratio. We want it to generate exactly 3000 by 4000. And we also notice that there is no way for it to expand the canvas and fill in the background into the image size that we are going after. So we have to do a background fill, which is not great, but nevertheless, let's see what it does. We'll keep everything else as default, and we'll go ahead and click export. And in a moment, we'll take a look at images that were resized. Okay, so here are some of the output it generated. Let's take a look at the generated images. So we noticed that most of the images have a black bar, so it could not expand the images. It just tried to resize the best it can. It cannot expand the images, it cannot upscale the images, and you can only do one size at a time. Moving on to the third tool, this is called IloveImg. So I'll select my images, drag and drop here, and then we'll set what is it that we want. We want to resize these to 3000 by 4000. That's one of the size. But actually I want to add sizes. I can't do it here. You can only do one size at a time. Oh, so if we say maintain aspect ratio, then it is going to change the desired output size. So that doesn't really make sense. So we'll change this. So we'll get now 3000, 4000. That's what we want. And let's run this and see what happens. We'll allow it to download the images. And then in a moment, we'll take a look at the downloaded files. Okay, so I've put the images side by sides. On the right are the before images, and on the left are the images generated by this resizing tool. So now it's becoming clear, like the chair here has been stretched to fit the canvas. And that's totally not desirable with any kind of image. Now this will become even more apparent. So you can see what's happening to this chair. You can see how this has been stretched. The other thing that is noticeable is as we resize, there is no upscaling of the image. Okay, this one is very dramatic because we had a very narrow width image, and you can see when we change the aspect ratio, how the distortion has happened. Let's take a look at this one. Same here, look at the distortion. So the net is that the resizing tool did fill in the canvas 3000 by 4000. It could only generate a single size at a time for our practical purpose, which is resizing by preserving the integrity of the image. Okay, time for tool number 4, Crop.photo. So here we're going to select an automation called Auto Resize and Align. We'll upload all the images that we want to process. And next we will configure the original background because we don't want it to change the background, and we can see it will automatically expand the background if it needs to. We don't have to do anything. Resize the margins. We want to just apply standard margins around it. 8% seems good enough, so we'll just leave that as is. We don't need to apply any shadow. And the next part is selecting the output sizes and aspect ratio. So of course we can do 3000 by 4000, which is what we are doing with every single automation. So we'll select that, and maybe let's try to generate a couple of different sizes. So it's 3000, 4000, maybe we'll do square. So we can select as many sizes as we want, but we'll just do 2, and we'll set it to use AI upscale, which is all fine. And we'll maybe even select AI upscale plus, which will significantly boost the resolution for the images once they are cropped. Okay, with that, we are ready to go, and we'll just quickly review the settings, use the original background, and these are the 2 sizes that we'll generate. And we've also included our AI upscale plus option, and we'll hit start. And there we go. We have our results. So we're going to take a look at if it did a better job than any of the other 2. So we'll take a look at the first image, and just to see the before and after, we can see it got a perfect 3000 by 4000 as one of the output, aligned it perfectly. There's no distortion with any of the image. This is in a different size, 1:1, and this is 3:4. You can even see that it nicely expanded the background. So for example, you can see it has added extra pixel here, and they all blend nicely into the existing frame, so no distortions. This is 3:4, so see how it expanded the background. This is another 1:1. This is 3:4. The background is expanded. And take a look at this one. Same thing here. Everything looks nice and clean. Now that we have tested all photos on the same batch, let's compare the final result. Bulk Resize Photos preserved the image but couldn't deliver the exact dimensions that we wanted. It also lacked a background expansion, upscaling, and multiple outputs. Image Resizer reached the dimensions by adding black bars. It didn't have a batch functionality either, also couldn't upscale, and produces only one size at a time. IloveImg delivered the requested dimensions all right, but it stretched and distorted the image to get there, and also one size per run, no upscaling, and the output was unusable. Crop.photo delivered the correct dimensions, natural background expansion, it automated upscaling, and all the output sizes were perfect and were generated in a single run. So most bulk image resizers only change pixels, but once you need new aspect ratios, larger canvases, you want to increase the resolution and generate multiple outputs, you're not just resizing files anymore, you are preparing finished assets. And that's what Crop.photo is built for.